So I had a meeting with one of the head of the union the other day, and they're like, Robbie, if you talk to Pierre, thank him because you're the only politician on that level fighting for everyday average Canadians and workers and their families. Why was that so important to you?
Well, the first thing is that what I think I did is I said to them, what you do matters. For the longest time, there's been an implied, a false implication that the hierarchy is the guys in ties and corner offices are the most important, and the people with the blue collar are left out. That was how the world was viewed. That was our education. They didn't say it, but it was always implied. Like, well, you could go. If you do really well, you can go to university. But if it doesn't work out, you can go to the trades. Well, we all found out afterwards that the kids that went into the trades actually did better in a lot of respects than those of us that went to university. But what I was trying to tell the whole country is that what tradespeople do is really important. In fact, it's essential. The whole of our economic civilization would fall apart if we didn't have the people who can build stuff, make stuff, fix stuff. And I think it was just that sentiment alone. Now, there was a lot of policy specifics, like repealing all the anti-energy laws so there's more trades work, speeding up permits for home building, backing the apprenticeships, 350,000 training positions, including through union halls, allowing our trades workers to fully write off the cost of food, transportation, and accommodation, just like CEOs are able to do when they write off their private jet. And I think it was the combination of highly specific policies that bring fairness to our tradespeople and the sentiment, which I believe very strongly, that the most important people in our economy are those who have trades skills. And by the way, I think that tradespeople are going to rule the world.
Oh yeah,
Because the work that they do is very hard to replicate through AI.
yeah.
It's interesting. Remember, 10 years ago, I said, well, one day robots will come along and they'll replace all the blue collar work. Now we're realizing that no. AI is writing memos and legal summaries and other things that used to be done in offices by lawyers. So it could be that a lot more white collar work gets replaced by AI and that more blue collar technical skills remain essential.
So, Pierre, when you become prime minister, I have a favor to ask of you. I've taken upon myself to rename all the pipelines. So, this was going to be the Spirit Bear pipeline. So that's known as the Northern Gateway pipeline.
Yeah.
And that was the one that Justin Trudeau did the ban on the tankers and basically stopped an Indigenous-owned pipeline, which would have made billions of dollars for Canada and the Indigenous people.
Yeah.
So
you want to call it Spirit Bear?
Spirit Bear
I like
instead of the Northern Gateway.
Nice.
Okay. Then the Energy East pipeline, I want to call the Black Bear pipeline. There's a mother bear with her cubs because the amount of money that leaves Alberta that supports social programs across the country, because of pipelines and Alberta Oil, and not just Alberta, Western Oil helping the East and helping each other, the mother bear of the pipelines.
Yeah.
Then if we ever get a pipeline to Churchill, Manitoba, we're going to call that the Polar Bear pipeline.
I like that.
I'm not quite sure the viability of that with the north and the freezing. And
you need icebreakers, but yeah.
It could be done.
It could be done.
It could be done. It might be easier, right? And then if we ever work something out with Trump, the Keystone XL pipeline, we call the Grizzly Bear pipeline because that's both animals. It's tough and it shows resilience, and grizzly bears are kind of cool in a way.
And why do you want every pipeline to be named after a species of bear?
Because two reasons. As a Métis guy, I think that the bears symbolize strength. They're omnivores. They're tough. They hit all the nerves, and I think that it's something that Canadians need to show a little more teeth than we typically do. Because we are a strong country. We handle winter. We handle all the different things that are thrown at us, and I think that for whatever reason, for the longest time, we haven't owned our resources, owned our power. The military has just gone horrible under Trudeau. I think that it's a sign of strength because we could be the world's greatest energy superpower.
Yeah, but the government stands in the way, and Mark Carney's standing in the way. I mean, let's face it, he's had all these wonderful meetings and wonderful talks, and he's plagiarized Stephen Harper's line about making Canada an energy superpower. It's not the first time he's plagiarized.
No, he plagiarized your entire campaign.
He plagiarized my campaign. He plagiarized to get through university. And now he's plagiarizing words, but not the deeds. And that's the difference. You can say the right words. You need to actually do the deeds. And so far, he won't even commit that he will get a pipeline built. He opposed what do you want to call the Northern Gateway one?
The Spirit Bear Pipe.
Spirit Bear pipeline. He opposed that, even though today it would be done had Trudeau and Carney not killed it. But we need pipes east, west, north, and south. And if you want to name them after bears, it's a name to have, because really what that means is that you're going to have strength. And bears are industrious, they're strong, they have to provide for their bear cubs, which means they have to go out and hunt, and they have to catch fish. And so the same industriousness that is required for a bear to grow stronger is required to build a strong economy. And I like your idea. Now, I'm going to put that right in the law. I said, if you want a pipeline built under the Poilievre government, you're going to have to name it after a bear.
Perfect.
All right.
Why can't we work together to get our energy to market, to help each other, and to understand our differences, and not have such a, I don't know, this bizarre Stockholm syndrome of success in our country that we face?
Well, what we've built up is like kind of an aristocracy of interests that can block and block and block, and that's all they do. It's municipal bureaucrats who won't let you build a home. It's environmental extremists who won't let you build a pipeline. It's this or that interest group that stands in the way of a mine. And what you're going to have is a leader who will push through all of that. And, you know, I think it's nice that Canadians are polite, but that won't cut it when, the American president looks north and says he's got us by the throat because we can't export overseas our resources.
Yeah.
We're stuck selling the Americans 3/4 of our exports, and we've imposed this on ourselves. I think you're going to need to have a political leader who has the spine to push through the naysayers. We can't have unanimity. We have to be able to say, okay, this pipeline project is safe and secure. It's happening. And I don't care if you're tying yourself to a tree.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're going to hold a protest. I don't care if there's a premier who's moaning and groaning because he doesn't like it so he can appeal to some constituency. It's got to happen. And until you get that kind of political leadership, nothing's going to happen in our country.
How do we improve the relationship with the states so they're our ally? Because we thought we were the greatest friends until recently, and I did not see that coming. And two, how do we say, okay, you know what? We're going to sell our oil to any country that wants it.
Well, like with the Americans, I think the deal that we offer is you give us unbridled free trade, and we'll give you the security on your northern flank that frankly we both deserve, which is to say we will rebuild our military, we will secure the Arctic with new bases, new icebreakers, new Poseidons, new fighter jets. We will do our part for continental security. Everybody, left, right, center, agrees that Canada has to do more to secure the continent. But the best way to do that is to have free trade that boosts our GDP so that we have the resources to fund that expanded military. I can't tell you, nobody can tell you what President Trump's going to do. He's been very unpredictable. And I personally don't think that his objections and his grievances with Canada are justified. We have our squabbles on both sides of the border. We always have. But none of them justify having a tariff war. So what we can offer is a secure, prosperous continent. We can't guarantee that the Americans will accept, that this president will accept that based on his track record. So that brings us to your second point, is how do we become more self-reliant, sovereign, and secure? And the answer is that we have to get the government out of the way to unlock the free enterprise system. So fastest permits in the OECD. We're the second slowest. We should be the fastest place to get a permit. And I want to bring together the provinces, the municipality, and the federal government and say, let's all commit. We are going to be the fastest place in the world to get a permit to build a pipeline, a mine, a house, a subdivision, a factory, a warehouse, you name it. This should be the fastest place to do it. Second, we have to cut taxes. We have to unleash entrepreneurship. Imagine if you said, we're going to make zero capital gains tax for anyone who reinvests in Canada. So you sell your farm. I talked to a farmer the other day. These days, a multi-million-dollar farm, it's not a lot. It's not a lot because the way the land prices have gone up. He'd love to reinvest that somewhere else, sell the farm to the kids, but the lifetime exemption is not big enough. I said to him, what if I said to you, you can sell that farm to your kids, and if you reinvest in Canada, you pay no cap gains. He said, I would do it tomorrow. And that he in fact was talking about a family business he might invest in that would create a bunch of new jobs. But on a bigger level, it could be large companies that would bring money home from abroad to build subdivisions of affordable homes. This would be like rocket fuel for our economy. Then finally, of course, we need to repeal all the anti-energy and resource laws, C-69, C-48, the energy cap, the industrial carbon tax, and unlock production and pathways to overseas markets. You've got 2.5 billion Asians that want our energy and resources. You've got 500 million Europeans that want our resources, but you got to get pipes, ports, and other infrastructure built. The private sector will build it if you give them quick permits and total certainty, and that's what I will give.
Mark Carney. So when he wrote that book, in order to keep Canada's economy going, he's going to have to do a 180 on everything that he talked about, right? So one, can he do that? And two, how do we get politicians to keep their word? And is there any hope Carney can do anything positive?
Well, if you believe Mark Carney is going to do what he now claims, you have to believe that he was either lying about everything he said for the last 10 years, or he was just wrong.
Yeah.
You know, because he made a mental mistake. Yeah. So take your pick, but there's no charitable explanation for why over the last 10 years, he said we need to keep half our oil in the ground. We all not only need to keep a carbon tax, but hike the carbon tax. He said that we needed to expand governmental control over the economy and not reduce it. He said we needed to increase government spending by $130 billion and not decrease it. And so either he believed that and he now admits he was wrong about everything, or he didn't believe it. He was just selling snake oil because it was good for his book and his business and his political aspirations. Take your pick. The second problem that it raises is, will he do it? If he didn't believe in it a year ago, he was saying the opposite a year ago, then why would we believe that now he's actually going to follow through? So far, there's no evidence of follow through. You know, the premiers just met. There's no pipeline on the table. There's no major project list, even though we helped pass a law that would expedite projects. Yeah. There is more government spending, not less. The cost of government from the main estimates bill he introduced is 8% higher under him than it was under Trudeau a year earlier. He's now committed himself to hundreds of billions of dollars in extra annual spending yearly. He has not identified a single dollar of savings. And so there's no evidence that Mark Carney is going to perform the reversal that he pretends. And the message that I have to Canadians, if you want a leaner, smaller government, you want resource projects done, you want lower taxes, you want criminal justice reform, believe the guy who's been saying exactly the same thing for 20 years, because that's more likely that's the guy who's more likely to do it, rather than believing the guy who's been saying the opposite up until last week.
So tell me, growing up in Alberta, how do you take those Alberta values? How do you take those values and apply it in politics?
The experience I had growing up in Canada, I believe, personifies the Canadian promise. So the Americans have the American dream. I think we have something better. It's called the Canadian promise. Promises are better than dreams because you can keep a promise. A dream, you wake up and it's gone. Yeah. And the promise of Canada is very simple. It doesn't matter where you start off. If you work hard, you can achieve anything. You got a basic foundation under you, good public schools, decent health care, could be better, but at least you're guaranteed that if something goes wrong, you can get some health care, some roads and police, and it keeps you safe and secure. But if you want to make it big, you can do it as long as you work hard. And to be the adopted son of two school teachers, raised in a modest Canadian suburb, and run for Prime Minister of Canada, that to me symbolizes the Canadian promise. And I've seen that promise play itself over and over and over again, where you meet people who come from nothing and nowhere and build an incredible success story. So my purpose in politics is to restore that promise, which I think right now is broken. A lot of people who work hard feel like they're not getting anywhere. They're stuck, they're trapped. And my purpose is to bring that promise back.
Tell me about your new riding, because it seems pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's an incredible place. I really think this region is of dozens of communities is essential to the country. You can't we couldn't feed our country, we couldn't power our country or protect much of Western Canada without this region. Like you've got the farmers and ranchers, you've got the oil and gas at Hardisty, you've got the base at Wainwright. So it's an actually really essential part of the country from an economic and security standpoint. And the people here work extremely hard. They want a voice. You know what I love about the area is how entrepreneurial people are. You know, you go door knocking and you might have someone who comes from a tougher neighborhood in a smaller house, and they come out and I said, "What do you do?" And I'm a businessman. So, "Oh, really? Yeah, I'm incorporated. I've got a landscaping business, or I do a roofing business, but they're proud to say that they've got their own business, and that makes them kind of the master of their own universe. And I like that attitude. I do have a great kinship with the rural communities around Alberta because we used to go to them all the time when I was a kid. We grew up going to Saskatchewan every single summer to see family, and so that would take us through Hannah and other places on the way. And so I feel an attachment to the area, and I approach it with humility. I don't think people owe me anything. People, just because I'm the leader of the party, or just because this is a more conservative region, doesn't mean people are obligated to elect me. I have to earn it, and that's why I'm here. You'll see me. I've been in the towns. Like I'm door knocking in the towns all across East Central Alberta, places where they haven't seen a federal leader, maybe ever. And that's because I believe it's my job to earn their support.
What do you do for fun when you're not working?
So I have, really right now, it's work, family, exercise, and reading. That's basically all I have time for. And if I try to do anything else, it'll dilute my ability to do the aforementioned 4 things. So I try to spend as much time as I can with my little ones. I have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. And my 6-year-old, Valentina, she loves bike rides.
Yeah.
So I take her for little bike rides as often as I can. My little guy, Cruz, he loves storytelling and he loves Spider-Man. Everything Spider-Man. His Spider-Man shoes, pants, shirt, toque, everything is Spider-Man. And so playing with my munchkins, and my wife and I, we like to take them swimming and climbing at the park and all that kind of stuff. And then I try to get a little bit of exercise, not as much as I like.
You're in great shape.
I'm in okay shape. I could be in better shape.
I met you when I met you. You were campaigning, and I just remember, and I gave you a little hug, and like, oh, you're buff.
Well, I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm buff. It's a tough life, but when you're on the road in a hotel room, you got to wolf down whatever you can eat, and do a 10-minute workout in the morning is all you have time for. But when I do have time, I like to have a real workout. Enjoy an hour and a half of physical exercise. It makes me feel better, and so that's basically me in a nutshell.
What is your message for Canada, and how do we get back on track for the next federal election?
I would say that the best is yet to come. We shouldn't settle. I think our country has settled for really shitty government when our people are so extraordinary and deserve so much better. Like you've got a government in Ottawa that's doubled their debt, that's driven up inflation, doubled their housing costs, unleashed crime everywhere. We can do better than that. And the Canadian people deserve better than that. Like they deserve to have a government that protects the value of the money, that lowers the tax burden, that unleashes our resources and entrepreneurs, that controls immigration so that that our own people can have houses, jobs, and healthcare. And I think that Canada deserves that, and I believe our people deserve that. So let's insist on a government that is worthy of the incredible people that this country has. And that is my message to the whole country.